What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Indie Shimmer YouTube channel, the JP and Trav show. As always, it's your host with the most, JP. Below me, I have my esteemed co-host, Travis Davidson. Travis, how you feeling, man?
Man, feeling great. Feeling great. Big steps with audience rent today, including a couple of OU tied athletes will be launching soon. So, yeah, big things. Finally got internet too, so it's all up.
Finally, we've been waiting. We've been waiting. And to my direct right, we have a good friend of mine, Jay Smith, from at Unfair Sports. Go make sure you guys follow that on Twitter. Follow his podcast. He does a great job. Jay, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good, man. Feeling good. Appreciate y'all allowing me to join the great JP and Trav show. I've been checking y'all out for a while, so I appreciate the love.
Yeah, glad to have you on with us. And last but certainly not least, to cat corner bottom of me, the good homie Preston Gant, who I've done some stuff with before, and is another good friend of mine. Preston, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. So just took my dog out for a walk. Ready for some football this weekend and a 6:30 Bedlam game next week.
You trolling because that's not been announced.
No. OU Twitter. OU put it out on their Twitter for Bedlam.
Oh man, you got trolled,
they
bro.
got you, Preston.
Whoa, no, hold on.
They
Don't
got
tell
you.
me I've been trolled by.
They got you,
Got
Preston.
you.
They got you,
They
Preston.
got you.
No, they didn't.
It's
Shut
not
up.
OU that did it. No,
No.
People retweeted the 2020 tweet.
2021. Oh no.
Wah, wah.
Preston, no.
I got played. I got way too excited for some
Get
good
him outta
news.
here.
Oh no.
Get him out
Get
of
him
here.
out of here.
Get him out
I
of here.
still have to endure a potential 11 o'clock.
Please
Don't do
pass
that
the
to me.
mic. Please pass the mic.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh, poor Preston. Well,
Well,
hopefully,
Thanks for breaking my heart.
hey, we had to let you know, man. We couldn't let you go like that. Hopefully, that
Brutal.
does happen. We're gonna figure out after this Saturday. They said they're gonna announce it after all the games on Saturday, so we'll figure it out. But nevertheless, guys, it's gonna be a great show tonight. We're excited to have everybody in here with us that we do. We know we got a lot of people over at OU Insider. No shade to them. No, they gotta do their thing. Had to move it back a little bit because Brandon's son got a game. So I get the family dynamic. I get it, but man, they messing with our numbers, Trev.
Those
They
guys
messing
at
with our
247,
numbers,
man,
dog.
are the worst.
Oh man. Hey, but no, we love them. We appreciate what they do. A lot they get too much hate, especially Parker. I talked about that the other day. But let's
that's
get to
crazy.
some football. Let's get some football. Let's talk about this past weekend. Let's talk about Baylor. Obviously, by design, and this is something that boys Trav and I, what we tried to craft over the last year or so is, hey, Wednesday, first of all, was a great day that worked for me and him. But second of all, it felt like a perfect time. Hey, we're midway through the week. We're halfway from the last Saturday's game and halfway to next Saturday's game. For the most part, people have calmed down and are now more rational than they would be right after a game, and also preparing for the next game. And that's what we're about is rationality. Okay, so let me start off with my little soliloquy, and then I'm gonna let y'all jump in. My issue that I have, right? I know we lost 38-35. We shot ourselves in the foot. I understand that. It was a disappointing loss. We heard during that 3-week stretch where we were struggling, 3 straight losses. Man, if we could just have close losses, I wouldn't complain as much. If we could just this, we could just that. So we lose 38-35 to a good Baylor team that, again, we did shoot ourselves in the foot, so I understand. But you had people, I feel like, that had just as much vitriol as they did when we got blown out at TCU or when we lost 49-0 to Texas. So I want people to keep the same energy. Like, do you want to be competitive? Do you not want to be competitive? That's kind of where I'm coming from, because I saw way too many people that were just out of pocket. Like, oh, yep, here we go again. He's tanking the season. I'm like, okay, but y'all were just hopping back on the train for 2 straight wins. But now, because we lost by 3 in a game where, really we played pretty well, we just, we didn't do everything we needed to do to win. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I'm at. How do y'all feel about Saturday? Jay, we can start with you.
You're probably the most level-headed person I've heard in conversations around this, to be truly honest. There's a lot of people that they're freaking out. They think that the world's coming to an end, the sky is falling, all of that jazz or whatnot. And in my opinion, I agree. I don't think we played bad. I just think that we just didn't close. Because when I looked at that 3-point loss with technically 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions, and that 4th down on possessions that we gave up, that's pretty good to only lose by 3. Now, granted, the running back stopped on the final touchdown, but overall, the majority of the time, the game was close. The defense showed a little something. The offense was giving up very good field positioning. And at a certain point, when they're running down your throat constantly, you're going to get exhausted. There's nothing you can really do about that. And I think that, of course, that's the thing that we know is the weakness. We've got to figure out. Dylan Gabriel has 4 interceptions this season. 3 of them came in this game. I don't think that he's a bad quarterback. I think he just had a bad game. And it happens. Even some of the best. I went and look at some of the numbers from Baker in his first year here. And yeah, he finished the season with like 7 interceptions. And I think Dylan's probably going to finish something similar. He just won't have 30-something touchdowns. Probably closer to 25. But overall, it's not that bad. The world's not going to come to an end. We're building to next season. I've made this comparison before in the past. Is there the thing to look at with this team? Look at us compared to what Tennessee did last year. Heupel walked in, 35 transfers, left because of the Pruitt incident. He took that team to make them 7-5. Next season, look at them. They're the number 5 team in the country. He was able to build behind a quarterback that was a transfer that he didn't even start at the beginning of the season. Figured out the system, learned everything, and boom, they're propelled. I think Oklahoma has a better chance there, getting close to what Tennessee did. Maybe not be number 5 in the country, but definitely moving forward good. And then last thing, Eric Gray. Shout out to my boy. My bad still. I'm going to keep apologizing every time I mention your name because I doubted you as a feature back, and you got another 100-yard game. He's going to hit over 1,000 this season. So shout out to E. Gray for that.
PG.
Yeah, I mean, it's just another typical thing of OU fans overreacting. We should have listened to Brent Venables when he said that it was potentially going to take us 3 years to get back on track. I was part of those people that originally set expectations too high, and I have set my expectations pretty low now so that I don't go out there and get disappointed every Sunday. But you know what? Right now we have to look at it, even though when we lose, and look at the good foundational building blocks that we're putting forward towards the season's continuing going on, right? As BV and the staff continue to want to bring in new and younger guys and guys through the transfer portal, you're going to need guys that understand the defensive scheme and are able to help be leaders on that defense and be vocal leaders to help put people in the right positions and help teach them how to run it so that we can get back to that national championship expectation quicker, right? I don't know if we can have that expectation next year, but that's kind of how I'm looking at the season, and that's how I'm kind of going into all these games. And when I watched this at Baylor on Saturday, that's, again, one of the things I look for. I just look for simple improvements on the defense, right? Are they tackling? Are they communicating? Does it look like they're starting to understand it? So I felt like at Iowa State, we started to see a little bit of that. We saw a really good glimpse. And I think in the Baylor game, we saw really good glimpses of it as well. But then you see them give up, 9 big chunk plays. But other than that, I do think there's a lot of good things that we can take from these games and take from these losses, which is funny to say that you can take something from a loss. But listen, they're able to take some really good things away from the loss.
Real quick, to add to what PG just mentioned, they had 8 tackles for a loss in this game. That's a big deal to me because that's kind of the foundation of what Venables' defense has done the entire time he was at Clemson, is they were known for getting those tackles for a loss. We're just not getting them consistently at the right times. Like, you kind of need a tackle for a loss at 3rd down instead of like always at 1st down and then give up the 3rd down into a 1st down. But doing that, 8 of them, they'll probably finish top 20 in the country in tackles for loss this year. Build on that more, you'll end up in the top 5. So yeah, those building blocks are great.
Yeah, I think as far as OU mentality, OU fans mentality, right? We got sold all the hopium. I was a hopium dealer. I'm proud of it. I go through life very positive. I feel like that's a good way to go about it. So I'm going to continue to be positive. But I think, like, JP, to your point, like, I think people were angrier about this one because it was close. Texas, I mean, people were just kind of beat down saying, all right, we stink. Like, this game is, I mean, you can point to any one of the interceptions. All right, so that's 3. You can point to the 4th and 1 that they went for on their own 29 that they were down by, or they were up 3. First of all, ultimate disrespect there. And then you can look at Andrew Rain getting 2 penalties on the same play at the end of the first half, costing the team likely 3 points because I think Schmidt hits a field goal that's 15 yards closer. You can look at Isaiah Coe ripping the helmet off of an offensive lineman while David Uwebu tackles, gets one of those tackles for loss, right? And boom, you go from 3rd and 13 to an automatic first down. They score a touchdown on that. That could be a change of 4 points. Things like that. And I think that's what angers most OU fans is it's always, if it's one play goes the other way, if the ifs get a lot larger. Exactly. So, like, when you look at, I mean, you talked about the 3 interceptions, right? Don't think he's going to do that again. Well, the first one was tipped. The second one, not only was it tipped, but Braden Willis had his arm pulled down. Jeff Lebby even talked about it in his press conference. He said, hey, look, that second one I don't put on him. He threw a good ball, but Braden wasn't able to get his other arm up to get it. That gets tipped, goes right down to a defender. Now, there was that third one was bad, but all those 3, I believe, were in the first half, yeah? So we go into halftime, down 3. What's your excuse for the second half? If the offense was holding you back the entire time by giving the ball away, and in the second half, you don't gain any ground, you're only down 3 going into the second half, and you still lose by 3, should have lost by 10. Again, we've talked about that. So you can't blame – I'm not the type to blame Jeff Lebby or Dylan Gabriel when you scored 35 points. It hasn't been since Matt Rule's first year at Baylor that Baylor scored 35-plus on Oklahoma. Matt Rule's first year. 35-plus is always good enough to beat Baylor. This team last year with Guru Lincoln Riley and elite Caleb Williams, they scored 14 points. Caleb had 2 interceptions and 0 touchdowns. So, yes, 35 points should get you the win. But when Oklahoma gives up 281 rushing yards, that's now the 4th time that Oklahoma has allowed 275-plus rushing yards. We are 119th in the country in rush defense and dead last in the Big 12. We are the 5th worst in Power 5 when it comes to rush defense. And so I can't sit here and watch people blame Lebby or blame Dylan Gabriel, all this, that. Hey, Dylan Gabriel still is able to get up 35 points on the board. Like, you just got to keep Baylor from getting more than 35. That should be a decently easy task. So with that, I think, you put a bow on it and say, hopefully we had some learning experiences, as Preston was saying. But at the same time, it was frustrating. And what I hope isn't happening is I hope kind of that loser's mentality isn't creeping into the fan base, because something that really frustrated me at the game on Saturday was the loudest cheer in the stands the whole day was when they showed that OSU was getting beat by Kansas. And then I'm pretty sure Roy Williams and the softball team, they all got massive cheers, which they deserve massive cheers. I totally get it. But I mean, it was quiet on 3rd down. And it's part of it just that impending doom that we're not going to stop it. Well, I bet we would stop it easier if we caused a pre-snap penalty and pushed them back. That's the thing. I think OU fans in general, what I've found, and I know this isn't popular to talk about because nobody likes fan shaming, but it's got to be said, like, OU fans are not there as participants. They're there as spectators. If you are going to be there as a spectator, stay at home. You'll get a better view. The TVs are large. You can listen to Toby and Teddy. They do a great show, everything like that. If you are in the stadium, you need to do your best to impact the game. Impact the game means being loud when you're on defense. That shows that you know what you're doing, you know what you're looking at, and being quiet when you're on offense. OSU and Texas played this year in Stillwater, the famous 0 penalty for OSU game. Texas had 8 pre-snap penalties. And for those of you that have been to Stillwater, that place gets really loud. And they got about 30,000 less people in there. So I don't want to hear this. Well, a lot of the stadiums just have more people, this, that. No, there are schools with less people that are way more intimidating of an environment. And it's because I think OU fans have just become complacent and entitled and a bit spoiled over generations of winning. You have kids arguing with their dads about which one of their OU runs has been most impressive. It's great to be a fan of a blue blood, but you gotta impact the game when you can. And these close games, we talk about them being a play here, a play there. It's a play there and a play there. What if we give Baylor 2 false starts? Does that win the game? What if on that 4th and 1 they went for it, their own 29? What if we get them to false start and it's a 4th and 6? Do they go for it still? Do they punt it away down 3? I mean, things like that. We all want to talk about how close things are, but the fans in the stadium have to understand that they can impact those close games.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And, I sent out a tweet Saturday, I think, or maybe it was Sunday, that I'm frankly sick and tired of Jeff Lebby catching strays this year. Like, you can say what you want.
It's silly.
Jeff Lebby has been worth every single penny we pay him, whether you want to believe it or not. Like, that guy is the least, the person on this staff I would point to least about problems this year is that
we put up 500 yards. 500 yards. Went 10 of 15 on 3rd down, and I don't know, man. 10-15 on 3rd down, 35 points, 500 yards against a Dave Aranda defense. Sign me up for that every time.
Dave Aranda's defense ain't no punk either. That's the key thing. It ain't. He always puts together some good defenses, and that's something I think that Sooner fans got to remember. That, especially with Lebby, I think the only time I've ever thrown strays at Lebby was the Texas game. It was one of those, put the young dude in and let him throw. Just figure it. It's just, you're gonna hold an L. It's better for us to go down fighting than it felt like we basically kind of laid down. You know what I'm saying? Especially, I guess, the rumor with General Booty not being able to play due to an eye issue or something. If that's the case and you knew Bevel wasn't the dude, put Evers in and just let him figure it out. You never know. He may be a gamer, in which Lebby doesn't believe in that, and I totally understand, but he may have been a gamer. He may have went out there and figured that bad boy out by second half. So that's the only time I've ever given him strays, but you're right. He deserves – he's been fantastic outside of that.
To your point, and I don't want to dig up too many, skeletons, but at least you knew that he could go out, split out wide, and he was athletic enough to maybe
he's a threat,
run a route or something. I mean, Bevel was split out, and it's the guy. It was not only were you were running against 11 in the box, not 10. You were running the Wildcat against 11 in the box because nobody was out on Bevel. They're like, "Nah, we good." And then they ran to his side. Farouk, the longest player of OU's day, Farouk ran to that side, and Bevel got in the way. He's like, "Get out of here, man! Block somebody." So,
and I've had to explain to some Sooner fans about that too. It's why did we get Davis Bevel? I'm like, they had to scrape the bottom of the barrel of quarterbacks when that staff got in there. You lost 2 5-star quarterbacks back to back,
but I will say they did that to themselves, because I think if this staff could have one thing back, I think it would be the way they treated off-season quarterback recruiting, because they told all those kids, Jackson Dart, Casey Thompson, Bohannon, all these guys, they were like, "Hey, you can come in and be QB2. If Dylan goes down, you're the guy." Well, all those people I just listed are starters right now.
They are right now
at other schools. So I don't know why you would recruit like that. You can say, hey, come compete with Dylan. Now, Dylan knew the offense. So, I mean, that's like, going in and challenging somebody that's already got the answers to the test, taped to their shoe. But it's like, at least you give them, whether it's an illusion or not, you give them the idea and the opportunity to compete to be the starter. And
Agreed.
if you take away the opportunity to be the starter, what are there, 128 teams, I think? That means you are guaranteed to get the 129th or worse quarterback. Because anybody, I don't care where they're going, they're not going to back up somebody. They don't care who. They'll go start somewhere. These guys want to play, right?
Yeah.
They need to showcase what they've got. So you're automatically pushing it all the way down. And that's how you end up with Pitt's third stringer as your second stringer. That's just, by that strategy, you've already eliminated everybody that could be a starter anywhere else in the country.
Well, and the other mistake I think that they made on that was, I mean, yeah, I understand Dylan Gabriel knew the offense, but who's to say that a Jackson Dart or somebody else couldn't come step in, learn the offense quickly, or at least run something a little bit more competent if they couldn't run that offense? Like we saw Caleb Williams come in the middle of a season as a true freshman. I'm sure he didn't have Lincoln Riley's whole playbook down.
Well, I think there's a difference. There's a difference with that, though. And Joe Clack kind of pointed this out a while back on his show of how Levy's offense with the mixtures of Lane, Kiffin, and all of them is much different than Lincoln. Lincoln's offense is super simple. It's simple for his quarterbacks. It's more complex for the defenses because the receivers run different routes in similar sets. It's just understanding who to throw it to and go to. He kind of basically tells you where to throw it to, kind of like some NFL offensive coordinators and coaches does. For example, Jared Goff, most of the stuff Jared Goff did with the LA Rams was what Sean McVay told him to do. That's, you can see the difference between him now at Detroit than you can when he's with the Rams. He did all the work mentally for him early, and that's Riley's offense. But Levy's is all about ratios. You've got to see the way that the field is set, and then you decide what you're going to do at that point. And a lot of young quarterbacks can't figure that stuff out fast enough to be able to get the system going. Hell, Jackson Dart struggled at Ole Miss in spring game, and everybody laughed at him. I swear I saw a whole bunch of Sooner fans on Twitter say, I'm so glad then we didn't take him. You see how terrible he was in spring game? I'm like, it's a new hard system. I don't mind him struggling, at least at that point, especially when the defense knows what the hell you're going to do anyway. So, yeah, to me, I would have preferred to at least said, hey, you can win the starting job if you're good enough. And if you're not, then, you'll be second in string. And if DG goes down, it's yours. Or if DG doesn't get it, he's your backup. I would have, you said, Travis, I would have loved that a lot more.
Or just keep grinding, and maybe you just beat him out. Maybe you're too good to keep off the field. And maybe we see a Caleb Spencer type situation is, hey, if you have 3 first-half interceptions against Baylor, maybe we give the other guy a shot. You know what I mean? Dabo did something similar, right? So with that, I'm glad you brought up Lincoln's offense because sometimes I think Caleb, he's incredible. Don't get me wrong. Caleb is elite. Watching him play football is a lot of fun. But I think we write a different story about Caleb's time at OU because of the Texas game. Caleb was 3-2 as a starter. One of those wins, he literally had to pry from a Kansas defender, or pry from a running back, and fall across the line to beat Kansas. So when you look at that, again, this is a guy that threw 0 touchdowns and threw 2 interceptions against Baylor last year. But to say all that, Lincoln has said during Heisman interviews, right? They say, well, you've got all these Heisman quarterbacks. Is it the system or is it the quarterback? And he said, well, if your system isn't quarterback friendly, you should probably get a new system. So that's Lincoln's mindset. He's got the same as Sean McVay and Kellen Moore and Cliff Kingsbury. A lot of these guys that think they can just out-scheme every defense. So it doesn't matter what kind of players you have actually on the field, right? So you can say, hey, I know I got CeeDee Lamb there on the outside. This is what Kellen Moore does, and it drives Troy Aikman crazy. You got CeeDee Lamb there. He would have 10 catches a game in the first half if they played him like, but Kellen's got all these schemes going. It's got to go to a specific person because I'm going to outsmart this person. The problem is when Lincoln runs up with somebody against, that's why you saw so many teams with lesser talent competing with Lincoln Riley teams, because it was never like our players against their players. It was Lincoln Riley versus the other coach. And if it's Lincoln Riley against Matt Campbell, who's a good defensive mind, if it's Lincoln Riley against Dave Aranda, who's a good defensive mind, then all of a sudden they know how to diffuse it. And now you don't know how to take advantage of your own matchups, and having better players doesn't even matter because you can't take advantage of matchups. Levy is a guy that's like, hey, every single play that he runs has a run pass option, right? Like every single play give that to Dylan. So with that, like Dylan looks at the matchup, reads the numbers, and says, okay, this is what I'm going to run, because it's matchup based, which helps when you have better players. That's what makes it so different. So once OU kind of reloads, especially with this incoming class, like and Jackson Arnold gets some time in the system, whatnot, like it's all about reading what you have and taking advantage of matchups. Where Lincoln it was matchup between him and the coach, and he was like, I'm going to run this play, and it worked a lot of the time. Lincoln's a very smart offensive coach, very smart offensive coach. That's why it works so well. So you often saw guys just running wide open, but at the same time, like if you got CD, just throw CD the ball. If you got Marvin Mims, get him more than 32 catches on a year. Coming off a freshman All-American season.
Yeah. I really hope we give Farouk the ball more, especially going into next year. He could really be our Peter Warwick. Watching him return those kickoffs, I'm like, ooh, there's something there to be desired. He could really break out. He could be Peter Warwick.
I wrote about him in my 247 piece today. Compared him to, I know he doesn't have the top end speed, but kind of like how Shanahan uses Deebo Samuel. So there's been 3 games this year where Jalil Farouk has had multiple carries and multiple targets, right? So they're using him out of the backfield. They want to get him in space. He's not as fast as Deebo, but he's super tough to take down. He's just a tough runner. And Deebo ran like a 4.48 at the combine, but he's got higher top end speed. But regardless, that's where I see like Jalil as like hey, we want to hand the ball off to this guy a lot and then get him involved in the pass game.
Yep. No, I agree. And love all the points we made and again, and moving on from Baylor. Just looking forward to this last 3-game stretch and hoping we can finish strong, finish recruiting strong. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Speaking of West Virginia, let's talk about some keys to the game. We'll do our normal score prediction. I'd love to hear from each of you who you think really needs to have a big game in this one. I will be there personally. I'm excited to go. It's one of the closer games that I can actually make it to. It's only about a 4.5-hour drive for me. So I'm going to go ahead and go down there this Saturday. Should be fun. Hopefully we get a dub. But Trav, we'll start with you, and then we'll go counterclockwise, hit PG, and then Jay. What are some keys to the game? And then who do you think needs to have a huge game for the Sooners?
Well, as far as who should, I'll pick anybody on the defense. Give me anybody. Give me Isaiah Coe. Big body in the middle. Stop the run. I've always. I mean, last week I wrote like Ted Roof has one job: stop the run. Didn't do it. We lost. Funny how that works. But who will have a big game? Eric Gray is going to go off this game. Absolutely off. I think Iowa State rushed for 66 yards against us. I think they rushed for like 170 on West Virginia. West Virginia is not great defensively. They do get a lot of players back on the back end of their defense. They've got some corners coming back and things like that. But this is kind of what the doctor ordered offensively as well. JT Daniels, him being reunited with Graham Harrell. Of course, they were together at USC. They thought that would be the boom, here we go, about to be high flying times in Morgantown. Didn't quite work out like that. Over the last, I think, 3 conference games, He's got more interceptions than touchdowns. He's really putting the ball up for grabs. Look for Billy Bowman, hopefully, to have another pick. Maybe C.J. Colden gets his third on the year. But with that, he's really regressed, and I think part of it is because he's never played full seasons. He's always hurt. He's always on the bench. He got replaced by Stetson Bennett famously. It's just I think the wear and tear on his body's catching up to him, and I don't think that he's 100% healthy. I think Neil Brown is a dead man walking. I think despite his $16.7 million buyout, I don't think that they're going to keep him around. It'll be interesting to see if they elevate Graham Harrell to a head coaching position. Obviously, he's in that mold of young offensive mind that they want to kind of turn into, or at least young offensive mind that people are willing to take a risk on. I mean, you look at Cliff Kingsbury and Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur, and Kyle Shanahan and Lincoln Riley, and all you can go down the list, right, of just a bunch of young guys. Kevin O'Connell, Skull. Like, you get a lot of young guys that are getting chances, and Neil Brown was a young offensive guy that got a chance, but I wonder if they give Graham Harrell a shot. But I know I kind of went off on coaching right there, but it's safe to say, or it's at least safe to wonder, after getting blown out by Iowa State in the battle of who the worst team in the Big 12 is, it's fair to ask if they've given up on, the locker room's given up on the coach.
BG?
Yeah, so I'm not going to go with the obvious because we all know the Dylan Gabriel, Marvin Mims connection is going to be on this game because West Virginia's pass defense, listen, they're allowing almost 250 yards a game. And with Oklahoma's offense, you expect them to go. Here's my deal. I think it's going to be Ethan Downs. Ethan Downs, I feel like it's been a little disappointing this season. He's got the 2.5 sacks, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem what I expected from him. It doesn't seem what fans expected from him. Again, I just don't know if this is a sophomore slump or if this is just we had too high of expectations and he hasn't had enough time with Smitty and Venables. So I don't know. Like I think it's a big thing for Ethan Downs to get into the backfield and touch JT Daniels a couple times.
The fact that Reggie Grimes only has 4 sacks this season is things probably bothers me the most, but I digress. West Virginia lost to Iowa State 31-14. Iowa State's probably the worst offense I've seen in Power 5 in a while.
And it was really 31-7. It was a minute left whenever West Virginia scored that garbage time touchdown. They were up 31-7, and they'd already packed it in. So, yeah, sorry. I just wanted to make it even worse.
Exactly. The wheels are falling off for West Virginia, and at this point, we need to go ahead and keep digging the grave for them to be done. And just like Travis mentioned, Neil Brown's buyout is 16.4, or between that and $20 million for him to go. I can see him returning next year because West Virginia doesn't want to pay that kind of money yet. But I think probably I got to look and see what the date is. But I know probably at the beginning of the season that buyout drops dramatically, so they may just fire him mid-season and just call it a whatever year. But anyway, besides that, the offensive line is going to be key, as we always know. I say this all the time on every video I make. The line needs to continue to open those holes so Eric Gray and Marcus Major, Javante Barnes can go do their thing. And if we're running strong, we seem to go score very strong on the pass, because which is very weird to me about the way our offense works. And y'all can probably try to help me understand how this works. But it seems like our possessions are a lot faster when we run more. And we always get like 10 or 12 yards on the rush when we have like some solid passes. So it's really weird how that, because usually in that concept, if you're running more clock. We're scoring in 2 minutes or less when we're having a stronger run game. And so as long as we keep pushing for that, we keep focusing on the run and then let Dylan Gabriel blow the top off later on in the play with play action or whatnot, we should be able to make easy work of West Virginia. The only game I'm concerned about is Oklahoma State, because I don't know who's going to throw the ball for them, and not knowing bothers me. But at this point, West Virginia should be a cakewalk. We should go in there and beat them like we did Iowa State, but we should beat them by more. If we don't, then I'll be upset at that point.
Yeah, I agree. Jay, I was going to say the same thing. Obviously, as PG stated a little bit earlier, I was one, and Trav and I both are generally positive people. Again, we've both been claimed as sunshine pumpers, and we can wear that title proudly if that's what we want to do. But if we lose to West Virginia, I'll be upset. That would be concerning to me. It really would be. We'd have
That'd
to
be a
play under
catastrophe.
abysmal
Yeah, because there's
in
absolutely
all
nothing
three
good about West
phases
Virginia.
for that to happen. Or West Virginia just, I mean, you know, JT Daniels just have to come alive like the second coming of Patrick Mahomes or something like that. But I think obviously they don't run the ball a ton. They have a deep okay running back. They don't run it a ton. They like to pass a lot. So I can see us trying to do the 3-man front, which I know people don't love. But I'm hoping that the linebackers have a good day. I think they need to have a good day. I think they need to not only in run fits but also in coverage. Obviously we'll probably do a decent amount of zone coverage, I would imagine, and they've had issue with getting enough depth in the middle of the field. That's why cats have been running wide open. And the second part of that is the D line needs to get some pressure. Now, again, I know if we're only rushing three, it is what it is. I'm hoping that JT makes a mistake or that we can get some coverage pressure, coverage sacks. But those go hand in hand, obviously. And last week there was a stretch where I tweeted, "Hey, we're doing complimentary football just the opposite way."
Mm-hmm.
we were not playing well on either side of the ball for a decent stretch in the Baylor game. So, yeah, I am looking forward to being there in person and seeing them play in person, and hopefully, we get out of there with a double-digit win, get bowl eligible, which I think at this point that would be a win to get bowl eligible. We want to finish 8-4, obviously, but we want to play a bowl and see what we can do in a bowl game at the end of the day. So score predictions really quick, and then we'll move on to some recruiting talk for a little bit. Um, my score prediction, I'm gonna say 42-24 OU. Jay.
I'm gonna go ahead and give OU a defensive game that they've been wanting for a bit. Something similar to the Iowa State game, but a little bit more smothering. I'm gonna say 38-7, garbage time touchdown. I know, right, Travis? I know, right? Right? The defense is gonna show up. I don't know where they're gonna come from, but they're gonna show up.
I like it. It's aggressive, but I like it. Preston, what you got?
I really want the offensive performance that we haven't seen this season in the Big 12. I want the 51-17 victory. That's what I want.
Okay.
It's a lot to ask for. It's a lot to ask for.
It is.
Okay. I am going to go 42-24.
Ooh.
Yeah, 42-24. I know it's decently high scoring, but again, we're scoring on big chunk runs. So
you're 1 point under the over/under, so technically you're about right.
that seems about
It's
right.
67. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I didn't even know that, so I'm just shooting from the hip.
I didn't think you did either. When I looked, I was like, oh wait, he's actually got the over/under. That's impressive.
Hey,
Tell you what, me and Vegas locked in.
great minds think alike. 42-24. I like I said, Trav, I think we got the same thing going. But boys, I hope that we have a dominating win like that. That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if Marvin Mims contributes to that, because I think he's got like 17, like at the 3 conference games in Norman, like 17 catches, over 300 yards, a couple touchdowns, I think. And then on the road, it's like 7 catches for 50 yards and no touchdowns, like on the 3 conference games that have been away from Norman. Like, I don't know what it is. But hopefully Mims has his first breakout road game of the season.
Yeah, is it too much to expect Mims to have a 2-touchdown game against West Virginia?
I don't think
West
so.
Virginia's defense, they could allow it, but just from what we've seen from Mims this year in conference play on the road, not typically the best turnouts for him historically. Now, this would be a great team for him to, kind of break that streak with, because this ain't no Iowa State we're dealing with.
Yeah, no. He's got that speed. He's got that talent. He should hopefully be able to do that. No problem, but we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, watching some of the tape from last week's game. And David Hudson, a good receiver, but he's no Marvin Mims. Just being able to see, a little bit of what they did. Man, if they man us up, I'm licking my chops. Licking my chops.
Right.
If I'm Levy and doing Gabriel. So, all right. Hey, let's talk a little bit about recruiting. Obviously, we know that Colton Vasek, flipped to Texas yesterday, or was that today?
Yeah, it was. Yes, it was 2 days ago. It was like 2 days ago.
Okay.
It was officially
anyway,
yesterday. It was officially
Yesterday at 4
yesterday.
p.m.
we knew that, but yeah, flip to Vasek.
Jacob, I was talking about in conference play. Regardless, he's trying to stat check me.
Flip to Texas, and obviously the Sooner fans, a lot of us knew about it, knew that was going to happen, but there's some concerning things, going on for some Sooner fans behind the scenes, rumors of other flips, rumors of visits, and what does this mean, and what does that mean, and different things like that. And so, I know a lot of people are concerned. Trav, what can you tell us? What have you heard, just in terms of how people should be feeling about the temperature of Oklahoma recruiting?
I think we're in good shape. I still think that we're in a really good spot for Peyton Bowen. His girlfriend signed today. National Signing Day for OU soccer was today.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously she's locked into Norman, and as one Parker Thune always says, girlfriends are undefeated. So we'll see about that. But I'm confident with that. I think, I've got a couple of boomer doomers in my DMs constantly that are, Hicks to Texas, he gone. Like, well, Peyton Bowen's visiting Texas, he gone. It's funny. Texas has a lot of recruiting momentum, but David Hicks nor Peyton Bowen are going to be in Texas this weekend. I know a lot of people thought, oh, Anthony Hill, he's super close with, David Hicks. That's part of the reason David Hicks committed. He's going to go to Texas now. No, Texas and Hicks have not really been a thing. Texas have been trying to make it a thing, but if he leaves A&M, he will come to OU as of right now. Peyton Bowen, they're like, oh, well, you got to get Peyton Bowen in on this visit too, since everybody's going to be here. Why don't you come through? Nope. He's not going to be there. He's not even visiting another school this weekend. He's going to an event in the DFW. He's going to a party. So it's funny because I think you get those two and you get Cecilia Kana, we might forget all about Colton Vasek. I think he's going to be a good player. He needs to add some weight. I was talking with one of the guys during the OU game the other day. He's the son of Switzer's old offensive coordinator. And he was like, man, I like that PJ kid. He's like, but Colton Vasek guy, he can light somebody up if nobody blocks him. And he's like, all of his highlights, you look, and it's just he's coming off an edge, and nobody in high school knows how to block out on the edge. So I do think, I think Colton's going to do fine at Texas. That's fine. Give me Cecilia Kana. Give me Peyton Bowen. Give me David Hicks. It's been interesting to see some of these offers go out because, like PV, the USC commit, I don't think he's going to be taking a visit. I forget. I got to cite somebody on that. I think it was Parker.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Parker was talking about that. Yeah,
right.
I saw his write up on it. It's more so we're short on official visits, and if he does come, it probably is going to have to be an unofficial, and they doubt that he would come on an unofficial. But it
Right,
doesn't
pay
mean
his
that
own
he
way.
won't flip. Right,
Yeah, he would. It's on an OV, but he wouldn't. He's gonna have to pay his own way.
right.
So Taylor Ween has already been crystal balled by one Brandon Drum. He said if he gets, no matter what other offers he gets, Oklahoma is going to be at the top. I don't think that Sanders or Ween leaves their official visit without committing. So I think both of them commit on their official visit. I
Is
would
Marcus
probably
Strong
rank.
coming?
Yeah, but I would put Marcus Strong's likelihood of committing on the OV behind Sanders and Ween.
Okay.
I think Ween's more likely to give you a silent. Sanders is more likely to announce like immediately. I think Ween might give you a silent and just stick with and enjoy watching his recruitment blow up a little bit. But yeah, I like Strong. PV is the only one that I could take or leave. I get it. This could come back to haunt me. One day he's a Buckus Award winner, but he's the one out of those that I could be like, I'm not sure. But yeah, Topher brings up Damian Sanford. He is coming to the Bedlam visit. For those of you that follow me on Twitter and saw me the day that Caleb Spencer flipped, and I put out the stock up emoji with maybe a shush face and something else, that's who I was talking about, because I was told that when Caleb flipped, they knew that was coming for a while, but they wanted to go after Damian Sanford. And he is, for those of you that don't know, he's from Katy Paytow, which, if that sounds familiar, that's where David Hicks goes to school. So they are best friends. Damian Sanford was big in the recruitment to A&M. So if we can get him to flip, and here's the thing, it's a fire sale. It's kind of like what happens when a big restaurant goes out of business around here. I'm like, sweet. I'm either going to wait for the auction to see what y'all are selling, or I'm going to see what employees you got, because I'm going to go hire all your cooks. So that's what kind of this is when, a team like A&M is just falling flat on their face. And Anthony Hill decommitting, man, that's going to devastate them, because you can't use the excuses of, oh, we were recruiting over him. Oh, no, that's the number one linebacker in the country. And he's gone. So he was the shining star of your class. David Hicks obviously is really the shining star of your class, but he's been talking. I mean, he's taking an official to OU right now. He's unofficially going to Oregon this weekend. That's unofficial, but he's taking visits. He's looking around, and everybody in the industry says it's OU if David Hicks leaves. I did talk to an SEC coach at the Bixby and Jinx game, SEC position coach that was out there, and he told me that regionally, everybody pretty much agrees that Peyton Bowen's going to end up a Sooner, and he has no allegiance, obviously, to Oklahoma. He's not an Oklahoma. I don't even think he knew that I had any ties to Oklahoma, but.
Yeah, A&M's recruiting class is literally about to fall apart, because I think Bravion Rogers, the number 42 overall player, 6th ranked cornerback, he's taking a visit to Texas this weekend.
Yeah, the OU will obviously benefit from A&M's class falling apart, but I mean, Texas is going to rake. Texas is absolutely going to rake because of A&M leaving. I mean, they're going to lose multiple highly ranked players to Texas, and that's fine, because I mean, Texas doesn't do much with them anyways. They got a roster full of 5 stars right now.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a pretty big recruiting weekend for Texas. But couldn't you say this is a pretty big recruiting weekend for TCU? Because I know there's 2 players that are visiting Texas this week that have TCU in their top 5. One of them being Marcus Deal. Can't remember who the other one is. And then, I mean, I would assume that, Anthony Hill's probably a Texas lean right now, but I wouldn't be shocked if LSU or Miami come in hot on that one and take him from Texas.
Yeah, we'll see. You never know with a team like Miami with Life Wallet. Ruiz is out here buying players. As if we didn't just watch that happen in A&M and they go 3-6. Miami can't win a ball game anyways, and they're like, oh well, I guess we need a bunch of 18-year-old millionaires on our team to see what's happening.
Yeah, I think what it is with Miami, there's still the allure that this is Cristobal's first year and he's still trying to figure it out. Jimbo Fisher's been there, 5 years, and he's been screwing up every year since he's been there. And so, for the most part, players are still giving the benefit of the doubt to Miami. He can possibly turn them around next year because the ACC is so wide open.
Just like he did at Oregon, right? Where he recruited his ass off but couldn't win anything.
Exactly.
Weird.
You could tell those coaches, they can recruit, but they can't close. And coffee's for closers only. It's something, and he doesn't drink coffee.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, we got the bots in here, man.
I know. I just saw that. Oh my gosh. Free girls in U City. Okay, where's that at? I don't want to know. My girls are sleeping right now, so I'm not worried about y'all. Let's move on to our patented game, this or that. Thank y'all for your input on recruiting. I think we're going to be fine. Obviously, as these 3 gentlemen just kind of stated and talked about, there's nothing to worry about. We're OU. Trust BV. Trust the staff. They'll get their guys, and we still are sitting, I think, 9, Trav. Is that right?
8 or 9.
8. We're sitting at 8.
Okay. So,
Yep, right.
Yep. I think we'll still obviously have a good chance for a top 10, still potentially top 5 if we get Hicks and Bowman.
Yeah.
So
I think it's for sure top 5, but I think top 3 is going to be out of reach if Texas gets Anthony Hill, because then you have to compete with Alabama and Georgia as well.
Those are both tough.
Hey, Florida State's trying to flip Cedric Baxter, so they could welcome in 1 5-star and lose another. You never know.
Another one, yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
For that,
man. Ty's been going from podcast to podcast trying to pawn Bill O'Brien off.
He's been trying to sell him high. He's like, come on, guys. The real recruiting. The real recruiting is recruiting someone to take Bill O'Brien. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's beautiful.
He's been trying to do that for months. We're not going to take him off your hands, Ty.
Question before we move on: Ruben Bain, what's up with him?
Miami.
Miami's gonna buy him?
There's an issue because he was waiting to get clearance to be able to commit to Miami because there's like a family friend type longtime tie that's like a coach there, and you can't. You have to be so far removed from like it. So, and even former coaches, like a lot of people thought that's possibly why like OU didn't go as hard after Cole Adams, is because they were looking to put Dominique Franks on staff. And Dom was a coach at Owasso at the time. You can't hire somebody's high school coach and then actively recruit them to be on that team, right? So, so Ruben Bain's got a situation like that going on. They're just waiting for some clearance.
All right, last one, Joshua Allen out of K-State.
Jordan Allen?
I'm sorry, Jordan Allen. Yeah, Jordan Allen.
I was about to say, Josh Allen, he got the elbow issue. He's going to play my Vikings this week.
Yeah, can you get Josh Allen here? Can you get him some more eligibility? Yeah. Like post Wyoming pre. But yeah, Jordan Allen at K-State, what's the mix with him? Is he even in conversations, like real ones?
No, I've not heard much about him at all. Not even many questions about him. So I've seen a little bit, but I think we're prioritizing even like the 4 they talked about earlier. So yeah, it's not something I expect right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and what do you think about? Because I know Texas fans are real hype about the Vasic flip because it's Austin Westlake and those kind of things. Do you know if OU is still communicating with By Job, if they're maybe still looking at trying to get in on that commitment in their backyard?
No,
No.
OU and by Job are done. So
Split still.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
Jacob Lacey. He was recently here
yeah, you're talking about the defensive line
from Notre Dame, grad transfer.
Notre Dame transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely enjoying his visits, no doubt. He's looking around. So again, you can spin it. Depends on how good of a recruiter you are, right? You come to that game, and it's like, hey, we didn't get, we got one sack. If you came here, man, you'd be who fixes this problem. But any bodies on the defensive line, I'm definitely taking, but I don't think he's making his decision for a bit. So we'll see.
Hey, that's fine by me because we know the transfer portal is going to be plentiful in defensive linemen this year.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I'm sure we'll be in the sweepstakes for some of those guys.
Right.
Hey, let's move on to our padded game, this or that. Juwan and Preston, if you've been on the show, you know that's where we have 3 different prompts. And if you had a gun to your head, basically, which one are you choosing and why? So let's go ahead and get this started so we can get us all out of here so we can have a good night's sleep for work tomorrow. 2016 OU West Virginia or 2018 OU West Virginia, as we're going to these games. Both are for me personally, big time games that I can remember. 2016 is the one in the snow where we got to go there and whoop up on them. And I don't know if this is pre JP days. I was just Jalen Posey back then. I wasn't known as JP. But I remember one Christopher Lambert, the dude of West Virginia. If you guys remember that name or keep up with that at all,
The dude of
he was
the
running
dude
his
of
mouth
WV
back
or
then
whatever.
and he said West Virginia's going to beat us by like 30, and we went in there and wiped the floor with them. And then obviously 2018 OU West Virginia was the barn burner with Kyler and Will Greer. So for you guys, which of these two do you feel like was for you watching or being there?
I'm gonna say 2018 personally.
Ooh, okay.
That Kyler Murray battle. Kennedy Brooks had almost 200 yards rushing in that game. Will Greer was out there doing his thing. It was traditional OU bad defense with just fun and excitement. It was just fireworks. It felt close. Not. I mean, the gap is wide, but it still was probably the closest one to that Texas Tech OU game between Baker and Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, this one was just fun. It was just flinging it, slinging them things all over the place. Running backs doing all this stuff. I'm going with that one.
PG.
Yeah, I gotta go 2016. I remember sitting at a friend's house watching that game in the snow, and honestly, that was one of my more favorite teams with DD, Joe Mixon, P. Ryan. If I think I remember correctly, I think DD or didn't Joe Mixon and P. Ryan both go for over 100 in that game? And I mean, that's closer to the score that I want this week. So I think you know what, we're gonna go with that one. And my favorite defensive player of recently, oh no, I broke my elbow. Okoronkwo is on that team. So
yeah, 2016 for me for sure. I would love to see a rushing performance like that, but I think you might need some snow to do it. This wasn't a situation where they were airing it out much, but Jacob's right. The DD juke was incredible. I mean, it's crazy how much disrespect DD gets. Heisman votes, and he's left off like any like top 10 wide receiver list of the last decade or whatever. He's left off it. Like, he gets so much disrespect. But that was kind of the teams at the height of their powers, right? I mean, when you look at 2016, they had all those NFL dudes on there, and obviously you had 2017 where it was really put on display. but there was just so much damn talent on that 2016 team, and just real special playmaking ability all over the place. So yeah, I'm going 2016.
I am gonna go. I'm gonna go 2018, partially because I was there, but also, I mean, it just an amazing, not defensively, obviously, but just an amazing game to be at. Just fun, man. I remember, Chap. I told you this story. I'm hoping it happens this weekend too. But there's a guy in front of us. The West Virginia, they all act like damn Crockett out there. They got their coon hats on and everything like that. And so this guy has this big old raccoon hat on, and is just being a mountaineer, and he is drunk off his rocker, and he turns around, he hears his OU fans cheering. He's like, Kyler Murray sucks. He's terrible. Literally, and I kid you not, literally the next play is when he runs for his 60-plus yard touchdown. And we were all looking at him like, what'd you say? And so, I mean, it had everything. It had Hollywood Brown almost scoring but getting face masked and not getting called. It had Antonio Brown in his purple jumpsuit just showing up out of nowhere. Right?
Everybody was like, and everybody forgot. They're like, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, Hollywood's related to him.
They're cousins.
Well, didn't they ask him in the post game too? They're like, hey, what was it like to have, Antonio Brown here? He's like, well, that's my cousin.
That's my cousin. We talk about
and they're like, oh my God, how was that? How was that not advertised more?
Yeah, no, right, exactly. I mean, they adapt up. You had the CD fourth and like 3 or 4 catch that Kyler slung to him, and it was a great game. Again, offensively. So I'm going to go 2018, but man, 2016 is burned in my memory. Like you guys said, that DD juke on that screen that he ran in the snow, and just again being able to see that the dude of West Virginia just get absolutely hammered on Twitter afterwards, and I think he disappeared for a year and a half, like literally. I ain't seen any tweets from him for almost a year and a half after how much he talked. So. All right, hey, let's move on to this next one. Keep it moving. Obviously, as we know, we're gearing up heading towards SEC. With that being said, we know, and Trav even talked about it earlier. We have to step our fandom up. We want to be participants rather than just spectators. Now, we know the SEC is they're top of the line when it comes to fans that are participants rather than spectators. So I kind of chose 2 places I thought, man, if we go to an away game, here are 2 places that I think are going to be really, really hard to play at. So which one would you rather not play at? Baton Rouge or Gainesville? And why?
You had to have picked the 2 worst fan bases possible.
Hey,
It's also too that we played national championships against, and I think if you go to a national championship against Ole Miss fans, you may hate them. Like they sure were annoying in Omaha, that's for sure. But you know what I mean? It's like I think LSU fans, when I was there as a just as a bystander, they were very kind. They were very welcoming. They invited me to their tailgates, shared their alcohol. They were very, very nice. So, yeah, I think it was just because we caught them at that time where national championship going on, and there's that one loser on Twitter that's allegedly an LSU fan that all he does is talk about OU and hangs out with Choke. So I'm sure he negatively impacts the LSU.
Yeah, I agree with this here. LSU's just too loud. I don't know if I want my guys in my offensive line having to go in there and compete with that LSU fandom. I mean, you just saw the reports. I mean, I don't know. I don't like Florida fans. I think they're despicable, especially after the 2008 national championship game. But gosh, I just don't feel like a night at LSU would do us any favors.
I'll say this: during the day, Death Valley is loud and ridiculous. I was there for the LSU Tennessee game. My daughter actually goes to school at LSU, and it was
You have a
it was
daughter
pretty
old
ridiculous.
enough to be in college, Joel?
Yeah, my daughter's 18.
What?
So, yeah, I got a picture on my Twitter account. I'll make sure to retweet it so y'all can see it of me giving her crap in my Tennessee gear just because I just love trolling her. But outside of that, that stadium's absurd. It's beautiful and it's loud. And just as Travis said, the people are nice. They offered me drinks and food at the tailgates and all of that. So they're very hospitable, but it is, I wouldn't want to play there at night. I think that's the thing. If of those two, what makes me pick LSU as a place I wouldn't want to play is Death Valley at night. Oh, God. Because they know how to party in Louisiana. I would not want to touch it. Gainesville's probably crazy. I don't think it's anything like 104,000 people screaming and hollering and drunk and being Cajun and sound like old dude from Bobby Boucher the entire game. You don't want that. You don't want those problems. You don't.
I'll tell you what. The reason that I'm going to pick Baton Rouge is because how fun would it be to beat LSU at night in Death Valley? Like, I'm not scared. Like, I don't want this OU team to be scared of going to play anybody at night anywhere. Like, so give us what's known as the hardest challenge in the SEC, and that's playing LSU at night. Also, I definitely did sing me some "Callin' Baton Rouge" by Garth Brooks when I was there a couple weeks ago. So I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed myself at LSU. So yeah, I would rather Baton Rouge. It's an easier travel for me or for everybody in Norman. But Gainesville, I don't really have that much interest in going. Obviously, they've got history, everything like that. But I just LSU just seems like it would be more fun, and OU and LSU, I feel have, a bit of history. Obviously, we got a coach over there. We've got the 2019 game. We've got more recent history, whereas, Florida has been bad for a really long time for the most part. So, and doesn't look like they're much better this year. So, I think LSU would be my answer.
Yeah, I would rather play. I think in Baton Rouge for the same reason Trav said. But if I had to choose one that I would say, is less intimidating, I'd probably say Gainesville as well. No, I feel like when Florida's good, the Swamp is a tough place to play, for sure. They know Griffin Stadium is not an easy place. The way they built it even is pretty specific to that. So I've had some friends that have gone to a couple Florida State games at Florida, and it's been a lot for them. But it's gonna be fun, man. When we get to the SEC, to see where we can travel, and even Tennessee. That's one that I would go to. Tennessee's Knoxville's not a crazy amount far from me, probably about the same as West Virginia, about 5.5 hours, something like that. So that would be an amazing game to go to. All right, last one, then we'll get us out of here. It's our food one that we do all the time. Trav looks forward to them. Here we go. Street tacos or tortas? I'm a Mexican food stan.
I'll go last. Get you
gonna go last, Trav? You said?
Yeah.
There's
All
only
I'll lead
one
the
right
way.
answer to this. There's only one right answer to this, Jay. So get it right.
Yeah, street tacos, man. It's always street
All right.
tacos.
There
It's
you
always the word. Street tacos, man. Period. Just those little, just so all the goodness and love and sacrifice is placed on that little tortilla. Yeah, it's all about the street taco, man. Period.
And you can't just find any street tacos. You have to go find the one on the corner where you're
Yep.
the only white guy getting the tacos and everything's in Spanish. We did that when we went to San Antonio. That's what we did. We were trying to find a good taco spot, and like literally, there's a taco truck off the road. We went there. We couldn't read the sign. We're having to Google Translate. We ended up ordering something with pig tongue in it. Best street tacos I've ever had, though.
La lengua. I'm going torta because I like bread.
Okay.
And I'm a big sandwich guy. And I know tacos are technically sandwiches, but I need if I gotta have street tacos, I gotta have like 10 of them. You know what I mean? Like, and they're not as neat. You got things falling out. If you get, the right moisture in them, it's running everywhere. I'm thinking you get a nice big torta from Don Francisco's down here in Tulsa. Whew, that's the move. I just like the rich and buttery side of it, with all that bread, and yeah. Oh God, I've already been an Arkansas fan on ESPN, and now I'm an LSU fan because I go down there.
Hey,
Yeah,
Yes, a hot dog's a sandwich. Of course it is.
my favorite street tacos are the ones in Tahlequah. There's a little spot called Jose's. I actually need to drive up there soon so I can go get me some. But little hole in the wall, family owned restaurant, and it's heaven. So I'm going to Tahlequah this week. I'm just gonna make it happen.
You need to. Sounds like
The claw.
I'm gonna go street tacos as well. Personally for me, but I love tortas. There's a place up here that has an amazing, probably the best torta I've ever had in my life. Just got a ton of different meats on it and everything like that. Tortas are underrated, but I'm gonna go street tacos. And I live in Indianapolis. I live like 5 minutes from like the Hispanic quarter of Indianapolis. And we even a good portion of the students at the school I'm athletic director from, we actually bus them in from a community center that we partner with. That's not too far from where I live either. And so I actually had one of my volleyball players during a tournament we were hosting this year. Their parents own a local restaurant, and they came up and they had a whole taco truck, and man, it was the bomb was banging. I mean, you had people coming in, it's good. We got a bunch of people there, and man, did you get them street tacos out there? Did you get the cow tongue? Everything like that, man. Street tacos is the way to go for me. But don't shake your head at tortas. Don't shake your head.
I feel like tacos are almost going the way of sriracha. So sriracha is very good. I have some. But you don't need sriracha socks. You don't need sriracha keychains. You don't need sriracha flavored sodas. You don't need sriracha flavored, baby food. You don't need sriracha. Exactly. You don't need whatever this squeaky toy. You don't need sriracha dog toys. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes such a more of like a cultural meme style situation where it's like, yes, sriracha is a great sauce. Is it the end-all, be-all of all hot sauces? No, not at all. When I go down to Fassler Hall down here in downtown Tulsa, and they bring me the big wheel of hot sauces, I never pick sriracha. I'm picking something else, something crazy. And I feel like, thanks to LeBron James shouting Taco Tuesday, all that from him, from all this, all the taco meme culture. I think tacos have been, while very good, slightly elevated in people's minds where they feel, oh yeah, I'm a big taco guy, big time taco guy. You could ask 100 people, hey man, you taco? Oh man, I love me tacos. When's the last time you had them? Oh man, I don't know, been a few weeks. And I'm not saying everybody's like that. Yeah, see, that fits. I guarantee you all the people that are drooling over tacos in the comments didn't have tacos within the last 2 days. Guarantee
they didn't go to Yo Pablo.
Ooh.
Right.
Keaton, that's kind of a really good question. That's something to debate one of these days. Which culture is worse, taco or pizza culture? Because I swear that's like the personality for a lot of girls nowadays is their ability to eat a whole pizza. And it's like, wait, is that your personality? That's who you are? I don't get it. And everybody
Pizza
always thinks
culture-
that's a flex.
It's pizza culture because too many people be trying to act like things go on pizza that don't go on pizza.
Whoa. You better not say it. I swear you better not say it.
As a guy that's owned a pizza place, yes, pineapple is one of the most popular toppings on pizza. So
Okay, what about
Amazing.
pickles? What about pickles?
Okay.
yeah, pickles are great on pizza.
No.
Olive with
Okay, all right,
pineapples.
get-
It's like a sweet and and
Yeah.
salty. It's
Little
that
green,
Deadpool deal.
little green olives and pepperoni. That's the move. I'll tell you what. I know some people would rather just have cheese pizza with their Dino Nugs. I guess we can do something like that for them. But again, that's to my point though. Pizza and taco culture, it's very similar. It's trendy to be obsessed with them in some way, shape, or form. Whereas tortas, they stand alone, man. Now, there's no such thing as meme torta culture.
That's a
There's
fact.
none of it.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing about it is you got to be a bread enthusiast in order really to be someone that's big into tortas like you are. So it's the bread, and I appreciate the fact that you admit to the reason why is because of the bread loving. I love that. I'm glad you're your roots. You are there at your roots, and you're saying, you know what? I love me some bread. So love me some tortas.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
I could just eat a slice of bread, but I'm not going to eat a corn tortilla. Just knock it back.
That would be disgusting.
I'm not
I would
doing
never
that.
eat a corn tortilla by itself.
Just munching. But that's the thing.
Maybe if I made it a tostada, then I would think about it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
With some salsa.
I'll just say this. The most underrated Mexican food that you don't ever talk about is empanadas.
Facts.
Good.
I
true.
love empanadas. I love
But
them so much.
Mexican food's tricky, right? Because they use all the same ingredients. They just package it in different ways. Okay, you want small tortillas? Okay, it's a taco. You want it big tortilla folded? That's a quesadilla. You want a big tortilla rolled all together? That's a burrito. You want us to fry it? That's chimichanga. You want us to put it on? Like it's all the same ingredients packaged in the exact same way, and everybody's like so nobody has really hard opinions about really hating one or the other. If you like Mexican food, you're going to like every way that they deliver it to you.
Enchiladas.
Yeah. But empanadas, though, there's something about an empanada that's just made right, and it's like sealed right.
I think you just like saying empanada.
I think you do just have a love for saying it.
It does have it does have a taste or a catchy name as well.
It rolls off the tongue beautifully. Empanada.
I had some last week. Our building guy is Hispanic and it was his birthday, and so his wife made some empanadas and he brought it in for the school staff, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever had
People walked by me eating them. I said, "Where you get those at?" They said, "Oh, it's Juan Carlos's birthday." I said, "Bet." That's all you get.
Bet.
You
He
gotta
should have
tell
another
me
one next
twice.
week.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So have you guys ever had a sopapilla cheesecake?
No. The best if we're talking Latin desserts, you got to go tres leches. That's my mom's favorite. That's my favorite. It's good and moist, sweet. It's got that milky. Just tres leches is elite.
James, you're a serial killer, and we're gonna report you immediately.
Yeah, straight up. I don't.
Saying that you've done it, sure. But saying that you prefer it to a nice piece of toasted bread is lunacy.
Yeah.
I will
Serial killer,
say,
man.
though, there is something about putting strawberry jelly and peanut butter in a tortilla and eating that
whatever.
over.
Oh my God! Hey, kick him out.
Let's finish this. Let's wrap this up right now. Oh my gosh. Oh man.
This guy.
We appreciate you guys so much. Jay and PG, thanks for coming on, guys. Jay, go ahead and tell them where they can find you before we head out of here, man.
Well, you ain't gonna find me with tortillas and peanut butter and strawberry jelly, but search on YouTube, Unfair Sports. I do a lot of OU content, college football content, and mainly just sports in general. So I appreciate y'all having me on. This was a blast. We got to ban PG though.
Hey, listen, it's really not that bad.
We sent the wrong PG to LA.
Yeah, right.
Anyways, y'all can find me on YouTube, Apple, Google, or Spotify. The PG Show, all one word. You guys can find me on Twitter, the PG Show _. Bring you guys lots of great content, lots of great interviews. So I'd love to have you guys pull up.
Yes,
Me,
sir.
you can
Trav,
find
you
me
got
on.
anything to say for the people?
You can find me on 247 Cooking with Grill Boy and
Grill
KREF.
Boy.
I'll be on from 2:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. this Friday. I'll be live from Ash Cigar Bar for anybody that's in Tulsa. Come by and hang out. But no, I don't think I've got anything else. I gotta go get this workout in the morning with that infrared sauna. So I'm gonna hit the hay here shortly.
Yes, sir. And I will, for anybody that I don't know if anybody's going to be in Morgantown, but I will be. So, hit me up on Twitter. If you guys are in the stadium, love to see you. Unfortunately, Trav won't be there this time, but you know what? This time next week, we'll be talking about me potentially, not even potentially, I'm gonna get over to Ash Cigar Bar, be with Trav
There
next
you go.
Friday, hang out with him for a little bit, and then we're gonna do some bedlam. It's gonna be fun. So I'll be in Oklahoma next Friday until
Nice.
Thanksgiving. So, guys, it's been amazing. Thanks for everybody coming out as always on a Wednesday night. We appreciate you. Thanks for everybody that listens through the week into the game. Hopefully, we get a big dub this weekend at West Virginia Morgantown. Jay and Preston, thanks again, fellas, for coming on. Means a lot. Appreciate having y'all on. With that being said, excuse me. We'll see y'all next week. Boomer.
Boomer.